13 Bannerman Road.
You're listening to a mostly harmless cutaway.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless? Oh, come. I think that's pretty good coverage for a disintegrated pile of rubble.
Hi, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
And this is Carl.
And welcome back. This is another Minnesota. I think that's trademarked. I'm not sure if this is a cut bits or this is a new segment we have now in MHC. But this is possibly episode 181.9, or it isn't.
Oh my
God. They forced me to do that. I always protest against it.
No, you name it whatever you want. Just
I don't know the Minnesota thing. I got lost there.
sit down for 10 minutes and figure it out one day.
So the reason we have the odd numbering and not a full episode is because Kat has returned. It's been since the Devil's Cord, whenever the heck that came out, and she's back. She was taken out.
Basically, her browser's working again.
She was taken out by the
Tornado.
Yeah, I was gonna call it the land hurricane.
Yeah, it was. It was a wind event, extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she clicked her heels together on her ruby slippers.
Okay. All right. Calm down.
And
Ruby Sunday slippers.
Oh God.
There's no place like MHC. There's no place like MHC. And
Not sure that.
yeah. So Carl fired up his hot air balloon and he gave her a lift.
How's everyone? I don't know why I'm Dr. Wrong.
We tried to get the Cowardly Lion on board for this podcast.
I don't do heights, okay?
Oh wow.
Yes, we rehearsed this for 10 minutes before I hit record.
Holland is the Cowardly Lion.
Oh God, he would have been so good.
I am king of the forest. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
Let's stop.
I'm sorry.
This is definitely a 0.9 episode.
In 2 more minutes, someone's gonna break into the song. I know
Okay.
in about
All
2
right.
minutes.
I mean,
But since Kat's been away, and we really want to know, and Sean was away for an episode or so
Yes.
because he had to ride a train or
Yes,
something.
that's correct. Yes, I went to the land of yes.
Mr. John Madden, sports fans will understand that. So we're gonna get a little recap from what we missed from Sean. So going back in time, even though most of these episodes recently on the feed have all been recorded non-chronologically, we're gonna go back to the episode Boom.
okay.
Cat.
All right. So, boom. I thought it felt like an entirely throwaway episode. I felt like the whole vibe of this episode was off. It was a really dire, kind of dark episode, but then they kept trying to make it happy with dancing and cheering people up because people were dying, and then they looked like, I don't know, cylindrical penis shrunk to, I don't know what they were looking like.
I called it the fleshlight.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what that looked like. And so it was like Ruby doing dumb shit. Doctor is on like a Roomba the whole time, and it was, I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. It felt off.
Oh.
I initially gave it a 2.5, but I took away the half after Rogue because to see how good like Dot Bubble and Rogue was, I was like, Boom was just garbage. And the only reason it's not a 1 is because it was kind of there for a purpose. So Boom.
This is interesting. I'm curious if Carl has any theories onto what I'm about to say.
Oh, we're not allowed to have theories
To explain this.
Okay.
But Kat, I like your hot take because obviously of all of us, especially you, your opinions on individual episodes of Doctor Who, new or old, are very much out of the zeitgeist, like very much out of the fandom Doctor Who bubble, and yours are like pure. So this is interesting because you've obviously come up with that opinion not swayed or convinced by anything anyone else had to say anywhere. Not just us, but anybody.
Yeah.
So would it surprise you to hear that many people, some of this podcast, but just people in general, many considered Boom the best new episode of Doctor Who in like 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're living in an upside down world. I feel like everybody's drawn on that. I feel like we're in a different timeline. I don't know what the hell they were watching. It wasn't enjoyable for me at all.
I don't want to put Carl on the spot, but I wonder if Carl has any theories on to that phenomenon, like with Kat being like such on a different page. I don't want to put him on the spot, but I'm curious.
I don't know immediately. I was curious because I didn't hear her takes on the first 2 episodes, so I don't know how she felt about the previous ones relative to this one.
Good point.
I liked them.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't know the numbers, but
Well, wait. Kat didn't like the first one, the Space Babies.
no, the Space Babies, I gave it a 2.5 or a 2.25.
The Space Babies, I'd like to hear that. See,
I
that
call
one,
that
but-
the E-Trade Doctor Who.
Yeah, she didn't like Space Babies, but she was fine with the Devil's Cord.
I was fine with Devil's Cord. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to put this theory together because most folks had an issue with the first 2 episodes and finally felt like Boom was the breath of fresh air relative to the first 2.
Yeah, that was me.
So if you thought Devil's Cord was okay, that is not consistent with a lot of folks that were starting the season. So I don't know. Eric.
We can discuss it another time on another podcast, but because I haven't made all the connections yet, but it reminds me of on RBG when we have the whole like Kat really likes Discovery and is like kind of so on Strange New Worlds.
No, who told you that? Who told you that?
Kat did on RBG.
No, I don't know. I love Discovery and I love Strange New World.
Because when we were doing season 2 specifically of Strange New Worlds, it's kind of sounded like you were getting kind of tired of the show. Or
really?
It wasn't, or not tired, but it wasn't thrilling you. You weren't as impressed.
Oh, I think I got depressed because I finally realized we're not going to have that particular future, and so I just kind of got depressed.
Okay, could be that.
So
all right.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
All right, but I mean, it's all good. I understand what you're saying about Boom, though. I get it.
Well, my question would be, like, Kat, do you remember a Doctor Who episode called Midnight?
I remember the title. I don't remember what it was about.
Okay, so what I'll say is that if you don't like bottle episodes, then you'll hate Boom.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I've gone on record as liking bottle episodes, you know. I just, this one to me, I couldn't understand what it was doing. Like, I felt like the little girl at the end was like, oh, I'll always have my dad. And she was just like, and then like, it was like, what the hell is this? And then like, I felt like when the other girl, lady soldier and her guy, they had like finally gotten to a point to where they loved each other, and he just died. That pissed me off.
Oh, I don't disagree. I
was just like, this episode has already got some overly like fake saccharine sweet on it, stuff on it. You also the doctor is standing on a Roomba, which doesn't make sense to me because I feel like he can move. I understand the tech of why he couldn't move, but it just didn't ring true because he gets out tons of shit.
Don't ever watch Genesis of the Daleks then, because that's really good.
I mean, I feel like, didn't we see that? I feel like
when you speak of Roomba, I think I could literally do that. Genesis of the Daleks.
I mean, I don't know. It just didn't feel believable. It felt like he was standing on that trying to fool. He wasn't standing on business, is what he wasn't doing. And then Ruby was just doing, I can do it. I'm gonna get a gun, and I'm like, what are you doing, Ruby?
I will say, in general, something I've noticed about this season across the board, and in Boom especially.
Yeah, don't say Doom.
And certain other episodes, is that it seems a lot of these stories in general are more about the concept and the allegory they're trying to highlight, and less about the actual action or spectacle or adventure. That's just been my general vibe. Like,
I got it. I mean, I got it. Yes.
I'm not saying it's good or bad. That's just kind of how I've kind of taken this season as a whole.
They're like, oh, you're fighting a war and you're fighting your stuff. I got it. It was just
yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, and maybe I should save this, but you could say that the Doctor hasn't done a whole hell of a lot to save anybody.
Kind of.
I mean, across the board. So
Yeah, he's kind of been an observer in a lot of these stories.
you could say, what you expect is that the doctor is going to figure out the answers, but it's always somebody else figuring out the answers. That was my main issue with the Chibnall era, by the way, is that
Oh yeah, I remember you brought that up a lot.
is that like the doctor was just like surplus to
Okay.
requirements.
And then Kat, what did you think about Dot and Bubble?
Oh no,
Oh, well, I
73
gotta go
yards, 73 yards,
73 yards.
73 yards. Sean is confused because we recorded.
Oh,
out
that's
of
right,
order.
73 yards. So sorry.
73 yards. Okay. 73 yards. I gave it, well, I'll go through it. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed this one a lot. There was no doctor in it, and that took me by surprise. And it's not that I liked it because he wasn't in there. I didn't know where it was going, right?
I don't think anybody's good.
And because I didn't know where it was going, but I had my suspicions because I watched that episode of Picard where the blonde doctor was the Borg queen at the end. Same vibe, same vibe. So
Oh my god, my memory is trying to access Picard because most of that season.
you remember she was like she did something.
Yes, I
came
know.
back in time. Okay, right.
Yeah, now I almost blocked that from my memory, but okay, I got it back.
So it was like that, and I kind of, because the her was always 73 yards away or whatever. I like that. I like what she had to go through. Sometimes I really like where they go a whole life and do a whole thing, and you just kind of get to skip through life. I kind of like those types.
Yeah,
of
I thought you were going
episodes.
to reference the Inner Light from TNG with Picard. That's what
No.
That would have been the more memorable one. Yes.
That's why when she said Picard, my brain went to Inner Light, and I got really.
Me too. I did that too.
Blonde Doctor became the Borg Queen. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't a fan of that episode, but that's another thing.
You don't like the Inner Light?
Okay, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing Eric.
Oh,
Eric.
I
Eric.
That is not very sentimental.
Yeah,
She's not
calm
very-
down. We're
relent.
not doing Star Trek.
We
right
lent.
now.
We're gonna have to bring this up again on RPG because that is one of the all-time best TNG episodes.
Yeah, but I would even further go back to the one where what was his name? The chief on Deep Space Nine, where he spent
O'Brien.
the whole prison sentence.
Chief Mover Pool. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's Doctor Who. Robots.
Chief O'Brien.
Yes.
He
Yes,
like
of course.
spent a whole prison sentence and
Yes.
whatever, blah blah blah. So I like that. I like, she I like the lost feeling of it took a really long time to kind of get clever and think about it. She just took a very long time getting to the point. She was frustrating with herself. She wasn't engaged. And then she started getting, a little bit more bold, saying, F it, I'm gonna do this. And once she started to get an idea of what she wanted to do, and she knew she needed to take out that one guy, it all came together. It shows us that she can think on her feet, which we doubted in the previous episode of Boom. But it kind of redeemed her character for me, and I had a little bit more respect for her.
Sure.
And it is my conclusion that entire timeline was erased.
Yep.
Does everybody?
Seems that way for the most part. Yeah.
Seems that way
Okay.
for the most part. I will tell you this, that Kat, based on what you just said, if you can take yourself out of the episode and look at the actress,
Mhm.
what did you think about Millie Gibson overall in that story?
That's what I'm saying. That the actress was phenomenal.
Yeah, she was.
That's what I say. I gained a little bit, and I said for her character, but it was for the actress as well, because you could see that she's her own person, and I really like that about that episode. So
She was really good in this.
Yeah.
And that made the story for me personally. But
right.
Yeah, I have been saying that the Ruby character, for whatever reason, has not really been growing on me the way New Who companions usually, Sans Chibnall, the way they usually grow on me. It hasn't really happened with Ruby. But in terms of the actress herself, I have noticed, it seems to me, and I don't know if the episodes were shot in chronological order. They're probably shot all over the place in terms of production order, but I have noticed her acting has been it's been more notable in a good way as I've gotten deeper into the season.
Yeah.
I will give her that.
Yes.
But anyway,
Well, I'm gonna say one final thing about, and then give you my stars on it. I would really like to know what she said to people to get them to freak out.
we wondered that, but I think that's one of those red
You don't
herring
need to know
writing
it.
devices.
You don't need
Exactly.
to
Like
know.
I don't think RTD who wrote it even knows. It's just one of those unknowable things.
Right? Yeah, you don't need to know it, but it would be nice to know, like, what could a person say to do that? Because they immediately shut down and
Isn't that
oh, I guess they go ahead.
isn't it so tropey though? I mean, the whole thing with immediately it comes to mind is of Lost in Translation at the end of the movie.
Yes, I'm about to bring that up.
There's like a handful of others that I know that I've seen. Maybe a couple of them might be a Quentin Tarantino film or something. And I'm like, as soon as she did that, I was like, we better not hear what she said. But I really want to know what she said.
It's almost bringing it back to Doctor Who. It's almost like the end of Christmas Invasion when the Doctor whispers something to Harriet Jones's.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yes, absolutely yes. That's another good example.
Yeah, but you hear what it is. You hear what it is, and that's
Harriet doesn't hear, but the audience does. But I was going to bring up Lost in Translation also because it is for movie nerds. Because I think Sean was reading my mind.
Don't you think she looks tired?
Yeah.
Right, that was the new one. But I was going to bring this up when we talked about 73 yards. I was like, nah, I already beat the dead horse on that one, like most of them. But in Lost in Translation, at the very end of the movie, spoiler, with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson, at the very end, they're like on a crosswalk or something, and Bill Murray whispers something to Scarlett Johansson's character, and then they depart, and people have always wondered, oh, what did he say? What did he say? And I don't know if I'm making this up or if it's an urban legend I'm repeating, but I could swear I saw Scarlett Johansson in a interview she did years later on a talk show, and they asked her, like, what did he say? And I could be making this up, but I believe it was something like, oh, Bill Murray said, like, hey, I'm about to kiss you right now, which was not in the script. And then in the movie, he literally does kiss
my
her.
girlfriend will meet you. My girlfriend will meet you at 31 Flavors.
No,
that's what he said.
No, and then in the movie, he literally does kiss her. And Scarlett Johansson was saying, like, when this happened during filming, like, she had no idea this was going to happen. Like, she was just completely reacting in the moment.
What kind of kiss?
Because it was unscripted. I can't remember how they kissed. I can't remember.
Because this totally I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm eating it.
I might be making it up. But he kisses her on the cheek, I think, in the movie.
He's at least 40 years older than she is.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, what type of movie?
But it makes sense in the context of the movie.
Scarlett Johansson back then, she was still old enough, you know. I'm not just talking about over 18. She was like 25, maybe 30-ish.
Fair enough.
She wasn't 30. She wasn't 30 at the time, but she was like 20-ish. I don't know. This is a weird discussion, but this is why I didn't bring it up last time. Kat, what was your rating on 73 yards?
Well, one more thing about what they said in ear. I think maybe now that we kind of hash it out a little bit, it feels like they said that you need to get away from me and get away from her, because if you do not, the whole timeline is going to fuck up. And they're just like, oh God, I need to be.
Yeah, but that wouldn't work on the Prime Minister. So that's what, and that I think alluded to this when we discussed it as a group previously. Like, I don't know what would make him rescind everything when he had Machiavelli'd his way into his position.
Oh yeah, that's right. Don't know. Okay, well anyway, I gave that one a 3.5.
Cool. Now, Sean.
Dot and bubble. I want you. You can lead that one.
All right. One of the things that I love, and you especially see this in video games, is world building. And you know, we've seen it in shows. The two that I'm thinking of right away are both post-apocalyptic. Fallout, which is based on a video game, and The Walking Dead, which is based on a comic book. And those two shows, I don't care what you say about The Walking Dead. I know everybody hates it now, and I get it, but come on, it was a fucking great show back in the day.
It was.
But that's
yeah.
Because what it did really well was world building. Now, The Walking Dead and Fallout, they had, if we're just talking about one season, they had, I don't know, 8.
Let's not. I haven't watched Fallout.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm not going to say anything about the story. I'm just going to say they have 8 to 12 episodes to build this world that you really care about. Not just characters, but a world.
mm-hmm.
And this episode does it excellently. And what it does so well is that it compacts all of that world building into 45 minutes. And it's also a Dr. Light and a Ruby Light in a way, because it's all about, and I don't remember the character's name. But when the episode is over, you think to yourself, man, I want to learn more about that. I need, LeVar Burton popping up at the end. Tell me where I can go, where to learn more. I want to know. There's no explanation. And I remember thinking, Sean, you're going to be fine, because I was afraid that they were going to take one thing from each episode and just sort of do a mishmash chili of it and then serve it, with a huge soup ladle and lump it on our plates. Solutions for everything in the finale episode. And they didn't touch this one with a 10-foot pole, which I'm really happy. And by the way, I could have sworn the way they filmed it that the Doctor and Ruby were both holograms in that scene where they confront her. But that wasn't the case. It was a real thing.
Huh. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Yeah, Sean, what you were talking about with the ending and kind of wanting to know more, it kind of reminded me of, I don't think I said this on the discussion previously. It reminded me of like the end of TOS Space Seed, where Spock says that line like, "I wonder what'll happen," if one were to return. And they said that a lot in TOS episodes, not just Space Seed. But it kind of reminded me of that kind of ending where you wonder if they're gonna return or something. And then also, oh God, what was the other example? Oh, the original from Black and White Doctor Who, the arc, where I thought that story was so cool the first time I watched it, because in the episode they actually do that for once, which is something I always wanted to see in Doctor Who. And then the arc was kind of like the first time they really did a deep dive, kind of like what they did with what was the name of the channel in series 1 with Eccleston, Station 9 or whatever, Satellite 9 or whatever, Satellite 5, and how they visited in the long game, and
Satellite
then, of course,
5.
Satellite 5, and then they come back with the Dalek episode, and you see like what happened as a result of the Doctor's tinkering.
So RTD now. I just
yeah. But great. Kat, what did you want to say about that?
Wait, are you finished with your?
I guess, and I'm just going to add that I was really angry at it the first time I watched it. I'm going to be honest. Wait a minute. I only watched it one time. Sorry. But I had to walk away from it, and within a couple hours, I kept thinking about it. Like, does this episode deserve your vitriol? And it doesn't. It's not Space Babies. And there's nothing bad in it. Like, oh, I fucking hate it.
But what upset you? Because you said you were mad at it.
Yeah,
though.
what?
Because there's no. He's like.
Oh, you mean because it's kind of open?
Yeah, it's like today while I was working, I went to the old randomizer webpage and looked for a random Doctor Who episode to watch, and it turned out to be a twofer, the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion. Now, this is the one where the Doctor, as Peter Capaldi, literally talks Kate Lethbridge-Stewart and the Zygons into peace when they were clearly head-to-head at first. He does this in a wonderful, I think it's about 10 minutes, but I may be wrong.
I think Josh loved that at the time, that speech.
Well, I also love Peter Harness as a person, so that's probably the reason why. It was good. It was a good speech. It's a good classic Doctor Who kind of speech. Arc and Space level. Almost Arc and Space level.
The way that his discussion with her was too brief. It should have been longer, and I really do truly think he could have he's way more charismatic than Peter Capaldi.
Oh, you mean in Dot and Bubble?
Yes.
He should have.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
dude, why did she not go with him? And I think it's just, I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, she fucked up. She's no,
Yeah, but you know what? We had this discussion, and this is what
We
like
did.
woke me up as to whether it was classist or racist.
Well, you know what? Wait. I have to. Okay, this isn't really touching the race thing, but when we had Tom's niece, the ghost, the 14-year-old, come over here,
The girl from The Ring.
yeah, she just was in her room the whole time and just always on the phone, never. And I started watching Dot and Bubble, and Tom was in the room, and he's like, "I don't want to watch this anymore. It's reminding me of my niece." I mean, that's literally how he felt. Like, this woman is helpless. And so really at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? You're just privileged white.
Well, that makes
You
sense
know.
because amongst many things in that episode, it's also a comment on the younger generation. And before, I know Josh wants to say something now, but before he gets into that, I just wanted to say too, like, I really wish both of you all had been on the group discussion that we previously had, because Sean, you already brought up some things that none of us really touched upon too much, and that would have been interesting. But then also, Kat, I really wish you had been there that time because of what probably Josh is going to explain more in a second. Because even though the episode has all these different elements that y'all know, we spent at least half of the podcast going Zapruder style examination, Zapruder film examination, just on that moment with the last, like, the doctor talking to that girl at the end. And we discussed that for at least half of like for an hour. We just focused on that one moment because I'll let Josh continue, but Josh saw it one way, and I think Caleb saw it that way too. And then me and Carl saw it a different way, and that was an interesting discussion. I think, Kat, you would have had a lot to say.
Oh, you would have loved it. You should listen to it, because I was convinced that the reason why she didn't want to go with the doctor was because he was black, because it was racist.
Oh shit.
And when we talked about it, Carl actually brought up the idea that it had nothing to do with his color of his skin. It had to do with the fact that it was a classist thing.
Yep, I agree.
Not a racist thing. And
see, this is fascinating.
And it is fascinating to me because, like, I've mentioned this a million times, like, when we talk about these episodes, like, I never think that I'm going to learn something over the top, like, oh my God, it didn't even cross my mind. But that didn't even cross my mind. I thought it was purely racist. And but when we discussed it, and Carl talked about it, the fact it was classist, like, I'm like, you know what, that makes sense too. Like, do we know which one it is? I don't know. But like, both of them blow. Both of them are horrible and disgusting. But at the same time, it's like, wow, that didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah, see, that didn't dawn on Josh, the classes angle. And I was in Carl's camp, which is the racist angle didn't really dawn on me until Josh brought it up.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, wait.
And also, hooray for a great cover of Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
Oh my God.
I like
that song. That song is so cute and quirky. And I know it's sexist.
They used to always play it at the at SeaWorld in the late 80s, early 90s at the water ski show. They always played that, and that's
okay. So
that
that's
song.
gross, and now I don't like the song. If it's
Oh my God.
Anyway, no, I actually like that moment, but I have to say, when RTD used to pull these weird pop song moments in his original run, it's hit or miss for me. But for
we're gonna bring that up again very soon.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
All right,
Yes,
I got you. Oh, what was your rating on this one?
This is a 4 out of 5. Really like this.
Wow.
I thought it was a great piece of work.
I had a feeling Sean was gonna like it, but I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. Okay. So for this one, to me, immediately thing came to mind was Black Mirror and Under
Yep.
the Dome, right?
Absolutely.
So
Under the Dome, cat. You had to bring that back. You had to bring that back.
Oh, I never watched Under the Dome, so I didn't know it had.
It's
that
okay.
element.
You don't have to watch
Yeah,
it.
no, it was just me and Kat. Me and Kat were the
Yeah.
only ones to watch Under the Dome.
Yeah, numerous
Don't
people
do it.
told me I don't have to watch it.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Because we tapped out. Because usually we'll watch like to the end. We tapped
We
out
couldn't do it.
Okay.
because somebody had like found an alternate universe in
Okay.
a locker, and it was just too
Hold
much.
on now. I want to challenge you guys. Let's do an Under the Dome versus Torchwood Miracle Day. How many episodes did you guys last for Under the Dome?
Well, I think we made it further through through
Yeah,
Under the Dome
it
because
was-
there were more of them. Just because there were more of them.
Yeah, we made it through
Okay.
that.
There's
So-
10 of Torchwood Miracle Day. I'm Miracle Day, not Torchwood.
Felt like there were more.
I say Torchwood is better than Under the Dome.
Okay.
And that, I mean, it's not saying much, but it is saying it.
No, again, Torchwood Miracle Day. Don't think
Yeah,
about
don't-
Children
no.
of Earth. Don't think about
oh.
the show. Yeah, you remember.
We're talking about the one that took place in the United States. We're just talking about
When
that.
there is an underground bubble
Well,
thing? Or-
some didn't call it a bubble. They called it an underground female genitalia.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, I remember. Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, let's not talk about that because gross. I don't want to think about that.
We have talked about it.
Yeah.
We have talked about it, Kat. We have talked about it.
Yeah.
I want everybody here to know.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Someone needs to join that thing up with the creature from the pit. Those two need to get together.
Okay. No.
That's a classic Doctor Who joke.
Sure. Yeah. So Black Mirror, I liked it. I liked the style. Black Mirror had these episodes where they were really stylistically like that whole bright, futuristic. There's a word for it. I'm not thinking about it, but
saccharine.
there you go. Yeah, so I always will like those types of episodes. You can also, she revealed to us that she was of the upper class, and upper class people worked for 2 hours, and they got to party. Sounds very much like an influencer. So yeah, I will give Josh's racism. Well, that's a weird way to say it, but
Thanks,
I will
Kat,
give them.
thanks.
Yeah.
They're gonna cut that right out.
You can have your racism, Josh. No, I give because when she first pulled him up, I'm like, how dare you? Because you never know in this show what people are responding to. But then I think the doctor realized, okay, we need to take another approach. And then they came with Ruby. And I think sexism was at play here because she gave Ruby more of a chance because Ruby kind of looked like her. She was softer.
She kind of she looked like she could be a popular girl.
Right. So she kind of felt like, they weren't from the... And there, I will say that the reason why some people can't tell the difference between classism and racism, because I would like say that a lot of the time, like, people are lower class, so the racism and classism is the same thing to a lot of people.
Yeah, the Venn diagram crosses over.
Right. So and then it's not like then people get more sophisticated and they're like, oh, I think you're great as a Black person, but I don't like poor people, or it's like that's,
Jeez,
yeah,
that's dark.
So and then the sexist thing is valid too because the way she responded to Ruby. So yeah. This is where I realized that we were all in the same universe from Boom, which is why I was like, okay, I'm not going to give Boom 1 star only because of that.
Wait, what? What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
We're in the same universe as Boom.
Because you remember Boom, they were at a war and they had this like society or whatever. It was something in this episode that linked back to the Boom episode where those two are in the same universe.
I think you're talking about Miss Twist.
Miss Twist.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Miss Twist.
So I think it was in Dot and Bubble, I think, is when the Doctor and Ruby acknowledged for the first time on screen that her mother, the main other girl in the episode Dot and Bubble, that her mother looked really familiar. And this is the first time I think in the season.
No. It was something. It was something about in this episode. It was something small that I wrote in my notes. This is all of the same society as the society in Boom. And the reason why I know that, and I'm going to say that with my full chest, is because later episodes, and was it in Rogue or is it in? I think it was Legend of Ruby Tuesday where they kind of confirmed that.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, but again, though, I think they may have literally referenced Boom in Dot and Bubble. Ruby and the Doctor.
They did something. Well, no, it was something that was, I think, because they literally said something like, "Oh, this is the same."
Yes, exactly. That is what they did.
Because their parents, because the parents' homeworld was like, you know, well, I guess bombed or at war or whatever, and he was like, "Oh shit, they're the same. Like they don't even know all their people are dead and they're killing each other, whatever." So they
that's a little bit different part, but they recognize the woman in the episode, I believe, the older woman.
No, it wasn't about the woman. I get that, but I'm talking about something else where they recognize the society. But yes, and they recognize that woman too because of the ambulance.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is the first time they brought up that they recognized it was in this episode.
Like I said, that is when I realized that they were the same place or the same universe as Boom, right?
We'll talk about that another day.
Oh wow, that was up like 5 octaves.
I don't know. I mean, it is obvious. I don't understand how you don't see it. How Dot and Bubble is.
Well, we'll discuss it in a future episode of MHC.
I mean, it's obvious, but whatever. The Dot I put here that it looked like a Dalek. I was like really scared. I was like, I don't want to do a Dalek today. Let's not do a Dalek. You know, when it was.
I never want to do a Dalek any day.
Yeah, I need a break. You know, from the Daleks. So this one, in the end too, I was disappointed because we found out that she's a bad person, or she's, as mean as like a classist person would be. She sacrificed the guy that she was supposedly in love with, and so she got away. Is it being smart and self-preservation, or was it evil? And then after they did all this to save her, how does she feel confident enough to go off on a boat with these other people when she doesn't really know anything? And they're like, are they like doing Dunning-Kruger, like she thinks she's smarter than she is, and the doctor let her go because of free will, and blah, blah, blah,
it's a combo of those things. But I also think it's still hammering on the idea that she is mentally firmly in her bubble, her social bubble, her world bubble, and so she is blind to the world around her, and not just in the literal sense, but in the figurative sense as well.
Right. And I put down a note that here I didn't want to put that she reminded me of a younger Donna Noble. I put that she was more of a asshole Donna Noble. It was something about her that was giving me Donna Noble, but like Donna Noble as a nightmare.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think because she had the same sense of humor or something. It was.
I said I can't remember if it was that one, but I said she reminded me of Donna Noble in specifically Runaway Bride.
Dad, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. So this one, I am with Sean. I give it a 4.
Wow,
I enjoyed it.
Interesting, because it sounded like in my mind, listening to both of you, that you would rate it lower than what you actually rated it.
I enjoyed this one. I was kind of on 3.5, but I really loved the visuals, the world. That was very important. I like that everything was believable, and I think I gave it that extra star because in my mind I had connected that world with being in the same as and so to me that's what made it better. But I mean, you're saying here, no, that's not that. But in my brain, after I watched it, I was just like, okay, this is in the same universe. There's something happening here. I love it. So I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. It's funny because I thought that made you not like it more. But
no, I love that.
You just reminded me of one more thing I wanted to say about Don Bubble, which I don't think I said last time, which is you had mentioned, of course, that it kind of has like the Black Mirror vibes and everything,
Mhm.
which of course a lot of people noted that, and I noticed that, of course. And other people, not on this podcast, but just people out there, some people were like, "Oh, RTD and Doctor Who are just trying to be like Black Mirror, like, don't do that,
No,
whatever."
it wasn't overly that.
I understand that take, even if it might be a little shallow, but that aspect actually worked for me
Yeah.
because yes, it feels very Black Mirror, but it's not because I love Black Mirror that I like this episode. No, that's not it. It's that it reminded me of classic Doctor Who or Doctor Who in past eras, even in the beginning of the new era,
Mm.
where Doctor Who has always had stories and episodes that are very reflective of sci-fi movies and television of that time,
Mhm.
respective time of when the stories were produced, and no one ever makes any guff about that. Well, sometimes, but generally they don't. In classic, when they're obviously borrowing from like Star Wars in the late 70s or
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so to me, I liked how, okay, yeah, I like, I don't want the whole series of new Doctor Who to be like this, but if we're going to do one episode and it's very reflective of like modern sci-fi TV,
Mhm.
yeah, I like that, because I will look back on this hopefully 20 years later and go, oh yeah, yeah, Black Mirror was big in those days, and so that was a plus for me, like a nice little subtle plus. Oh, and Kat, before we close it out,
Oh yeah.
something else that we started while you were, or I started on 73 yards,
Mm.
or boom, I think is when I started it, is because the Doctor seems to have a new unique costume in every episode of
Yeah, I
this
noticed.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started on the boom episode, like you get to give a letter grade, like traditional school grade, like A, B, C, D, F, or plus minus. How would you, if you remember the Doctor's costume in Boom, he was doing like his sort of like military khaki, tight shirt look. On
Mhm.
a letter grade scale, what would you give that costume, outfit, whatever?
In which episode?
Boom.
Boom.
He had the military boots,
Um,
military
uh,
khakis.
I'm gonna have to Google it because I forgot. I think I liked it.
For-
He
Maybe.
looked.
yeah.
He looks like BSG guys when they're in their casual clothing on the ship when they take their jackets off. Um,
Okay. Yeah, I think he was fine. I guess.
well, letter
Um.
grade for the
um
costume.
I'm trying. I want to see it before I. I'm hold up. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. It was just fine. That was it.
So is that a
It was
C?
a. I would not grade it as a C. I'd rate it as just a B. I don't think he's gonna do anything
Oh,
below
a
a C
B.
for me.
It's like a party dress from Cocktail Land.
Okay. All
And then
right.
73 yards. Do you remember his costume?
73. Yeah.
He had the striped shirt, horizontal stripes, blue and white. He had the big yellow. What do they call those in England? Like the raincoat.
The French shirt, the French Revolution
Yes,
shirt,
yes.
and
And he had the beanie.
the beanie, and that I like this because it reminded me of something. I was like, this did a previous Doctor sort of wear something like this? I couldn't put
Oh
my
my
finger
gosh.
on it. I did not, go and look, but it was something. I don't know. It reminded me of something. But this one, I'm gonna go with a B as well. I mean, it's fine.
And then, wow, I don't remember the Doctor's costume off the top of my brain in Dot and Bubble.
Let me see. Let me Google.
Dot and Bubble is like the original that we were shown before the season started.
He's just wearing like an orange shirt.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
it.
the
Yeah,
original. It's like what we were shown as this is the
Oh,
Doctor's
yeah.
costume.
And he and Ruby, I believe, were really matching in Dot and Bubble, and have in other episodes. I think Carl was the one who started pointing that out.
They are complimentary. Something about their outfits are complimentary.
Oh, this one was. I really enjoyed that jacket that he had on, so that's nice. It's giving Baker, but I liked it, and I enjoy that he's wearing different things.
So is this a B also?
This is a B also.
I mean, this is for the official MHC
The
Companions Guide.
Bolso.
Okay, that's fine.
Sean's the editor on that
What
publication.
is that? Devils. I just want to see Devils. Of course, sorry, this doesn't make.
Oh, I like that Kat's actually taking this serious.
The tight blue.
Because other people on MHC just like voted present sometimes when we did this new
Oh
segment.
wow, that is
Oh, excuse us.
disrespectful.
Hey, I said it was fine. I'm not gonna
Um,
force anyone.
Devil's Cord, I would give a A
Oh,
because
okay.
I always like costuming. Space Baby.
I knew you liked that one, and I think Carl really likes that one too.
Space Babies. Um, it's given fuckboy. It's fine.
It's given fuckboy 10, 10, 10 all across the board.
It was disappointing.
Fuckboy, real.
And the V-neck is just. I like if you don't have cleavage, men should wear like a scoop.
Well, I have cleavage, but the wrong kind.
But I feel like it was the pants are. I hate high waisted pants, but it looks great on him because he's something.
I almost spit out my milk because you remind me of my last visit to Men's Warehouse. And
Okay, I need you to
what
settle
kind of look are you looking for?
sir.
And I said, I'm looking for the fuckboy look. And they were like, oh. Okay, well, let's take you through the back room, past the bead door, and.
I thought you were talking about other beads. I don't know.
I don't.
Whoa!
You know. Thanks,
I think
Kat.
Kat has to have
Thanks,
some of
Kat.
Sean's medication. You see, Kat, this is Sean's role on the show, and now you're stepping into his.
I'm ready to talk about Rogue. I'm gonna go get a refill on this drink.
Yes. Hold on. Closing out. The Maxi-So today. This is Eric.
This is Josh.
This is Kat.
That was Sean at some point.
I'm Carl.
And Mr. Il Divo. And until next time.
I don't know.
Yeah, but don't even if you have to stand on a light up Roomba and pretend like you're helpless.
Don't panic. Yeah, it's like question mark, asterisk.
So this is going to be the Minnesota is going to be episode 181, probably 0.9.
Why?
Eric is always with that.
I think it's 0.82.